is 7 feet 9 inches Olivier Rioux. Even good? He's 7 feet 9 inches. Taller than most NBA centers, but is height enough? Olivier Rioux towers over the competition, but beneath that massive frame lies a story of doubt, pressure, and unrealized potential. Can he overcome the odds, or will his size be his only legacy? The clock is ticking. You can't talk about basketball giants without mentioning some of the most famous names in the game. Players like Yao Ming, Shaquille O'Neal, or even Kristaps Porzingis. But in 2025, there's one name that's starting to get whispered more and more: Olivier Rioux. This 19-year-old Canadian is standing at an insane 7 feet 9 inches, which makes him one of the tallest players to ever play basketball. But here's the catch. His size might not be the only thing that makes him worth watching. The real question is he any good? Let's take a closer look at the rise of Olivier Rioux, from his roots in Canada to his current spot with the University of Florida Gators, and explore whether he's the next big thing in the world of basketball or just another tall guy who couldn't quite make it. Olivier's story starts just like many of the greats, with a family that was no stranger to height. His dad's a solid 6 feet 8 inches, his mom stands at 6 feet 1 inch, and his older brother is 6 feet 9 inches. But even in a family full of tall people, Olivier's growth spurt was something else. By the time he was 12 years old, he was already 6 feet 1 inch tall. And that's where it gets wild. In just a few short years, this kid shot up to 7 feet 0 inches. And before you start thinking, okay, that's impressive, but how good can he really be? Let me tell you, Olivier was already making headlines in the Guinness Book of World Records for his size at a very young age. By 2025, Olivier had hit his peak height at 7 feet 9 inches, which makes him one of the tallest young basketball players in the world. But height alone doesn't make you a superstar in basketball. If it did, every 7-foot player would be dominating. So, what's so special about Olivier? Well, let's dive into his journey through high school basketball and see how he's fared. Olivier's high school years were spent at IMG Academy, one of the most renowned basketball programs in the country. Now, IMG isn't just any school. It's a place where future NBA stars hone their skills, and if you're there, it means you've got real potential. But let's be real here. Being 7 feet 9 inches in high school isn't an automatic ticket to greatness. The tall players are often more of a novelty. They get noticed, sure, but they also struggle with things like footwork and lateral movement. For Olivier, his height was a blessing and a curse. Sure, he could dominate in the paint, but his mobility was always a question mark. His lateral quickness and foot speed, well, let's just say it wasn't on par with smaller, faster guards. But that didn't stop him. He worked on his agility, his low-post game, and his ability to block shots. And as he honed his skills, the offers from major programs started rolling in, but not as many as you might expect for a player of his size. The Florida Atlantic Owls and Stetson University showed interest, but by 2025 it was clear the big names were hesitant. Even with all that height, he still had to prove himself. Ultimately, it was the University of Florida that took a chance on him. They saw the potential, the raw talent, and the unique upside that comes with having a player like Olivier Rioux on their team. And when you throw in the rising power of NIL, name, image, and likeness opportunities, well, you've got a guy who could become an even bigger deal off the court than on it. So, what makes Olivier different from all the other 7-footers out there? Let's talk about his game. Olivier isn't just a tall guy who stands around in the paint. He's got some skills. He's not as fast as a point guard, but who expects him to be? What he does have is a massive wingspan and the ability to dominate in the low post. If you get him near the basket, good luck. His size alone gives him a natural advantage over just about anyone in the paint. But there's more. Olivier's shot-blocking ability is also a highlight. As a player with such a ridiculous reach, he's able to swat away shots with ease. In fact, if you've seen him play, you know he's been working on his timing and precision. He's not just relying on his size anymore. He's starting to use his body in ways that make him more effective than just a towering presence. Even with all of these strengths, there's one area where Olivier still needs to grow, and that's his footwork and lateral quickness. When he's matched up against smaller, quicker players, that's where the gaps in his game start to show. Speed is the biggest issue, and many scouts believe it's going to be one of the biggest challenges for him moving forward. But here's the thing. If anyone can figure it out, it's Olivier. And if he can improve his agility, that's when we'll really start seeing him make a name for himself. Now, let's talk about something that no one wants to think about, but it's crucial: injuries. The bigger you are, the harder it is to maintain that body over time. And for a player who stands 7 feet 9 inches, the risk of injury is always looming. The physical demands of the game are real, especially for someone who's already had a history of growth spurts and joint stress. The last thing you want is for those knees or ankles to give out because of the sheer weight they have to carry. But here's where Olivier has impressed people. Despite the risks, he's worked hard on his strength and conditioning. By 2025, we've seen a noticeable improvement in his stamina, and his build has only gotten stronger. His muscle development is impressive, and it's clear that he's not just relying on his height. The fact that he's been able to handle the physicality of both college basketball and international competitions speaks volumes about his commitment to staying healthy and improving as a player. Looking ahead, the future is incredibly bright for Olivier Rioux. His potential is off the charts. If he can avoid injuries, continue to improve his mobility, and refine his game, he could become a force in the NCAA and beyond. His current standing with the Florida Gators is just the beginning. And when it comes time to look at the NBA draft in a few years, you can bet that scouts will be paying attention. But here's the real kicker. By 2025, he's already been making waves in international competitions with Team Canada. His performances in the FIBA America Cup, though limited, have shown his steady progress. His free throw shooting, which was once a glaring weakness, has become more consistent. He nailed 9 out of 13 free throws during the FIBA America's Cup, and if he can maintain that form, he'll be a serious threat on both ends of the floor. Olivier's story is one that combines size, skill, and a relentless work ethic. But it's also about overcoming the odds. At 7 feet 9 inches, there are a lot of expectations, but there are also a lot of challenges. If he can continue to evolve, he may just become the next big thing in the basketball world. So, what do you think? Is Olivier Rioux ready to take the basketball world by storm? Or is he destined to be another tall guy who never quite figured it out? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you liked this deep dive, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more exciting stories like this one. See you next time. And remember, the game's always changing.